NASA. So here's the thing. NASA isn't a space agency. NASA is the World Intelligence Agency. Everyone reports to them. FBI, CIA, KGB, CCP. Well, why would they lie about the shape of the Earth? What difference does it make? NASA was created right after Project High Jump when Admiral Byrd flew out in Antarctica. On the other side of the South Pole, he found land bigger than the United States, filled with resources. Look at that. From Middle America, he would be in where South Africa is or where Australia is. And another continent the size of the United States that no one has ever seen or set foot upon? What does that mean? What if
Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
The North Pole used to be a no man's land, but these are the days when, by buying a ticket on a commercial airliner, you can fly across the North Pole and drink a cocktail at the same time. Only 3 score or more years ago, about 35 years ago, our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Well, Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do. See you go.
Well, Admiral,
1959, all 12 countries active in Antarctica signed a United Nations treaty that outlawed all public travel south of the 60th southern parallel. This was the same time that NASA was formed. The world's attention was pulled away from exploring Antarctica and directed firmly on the moon.
Ptolemy refined a system with Earth at the center. For 1,500 years, Ptolemy's system was used as the basis of astronomy and calendars, and it worked quite well.
Copernicus hated that, and Copernicus set about to undo Ptolemy's greatest discovery.
While working at the request of Pope Leo X on improvements to the Julian calendar, Copernicus conceived what turned out to be the foundational idea of modernity itself. The idea that the Earth moved.
To be the foundational idea of modernity itself.
NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. That's why they have the snake tongue in their logo. NASA stands for not a space agency. Now, the devil-worshipping elites need to disclose the truth in plain sight as a part of their religion. You guys remember watching Elmo as a kid?
Surely this is the right spot. Look at this. This area is filled with books about pretend people.
That's That's right, Grover. This is the fiction section. Fiction means it's a made-up story. Fiction means it's a made-up story. Fiction means it's a made-up story. Fiction means it's a made-up story.
The truth has always been put in your face, and you guys have literally been stupid enough to believe their lies and not actually seek the truth yourselves. This is the man who discovered NASA, and he has a Bible quote on his tombstone. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament show us his handiwork. So this quote on his tombstone directly contradicts space. Space might be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Just like the Illuminati card game try to tell you, this is all fake CGI. Imagine seeing this and believing this is real. Literally, all of our wisest ancestors tried to tell you about the firmament in the flat, stationary Earth. Make no mistake about it, guys. We live under God's dome, or the firmament. The truth has always been right in your face, but the eyes are useless when the mind is blind. Peace and love.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see just how evil NASA is. First, we're going to look at Earth's orbital speed around the Sun. How fast does Earth move around the Sun? 66,600 miles per hour, speed of the globe's orbit. Next, curvature in 1 mile squared. According to Pythagorean theorem, 0.67 feet of drop. 8 inches converted to feet is 0.66667 feet. Curvature in 1 mile squared. Check. Earth's axial tilt, 23.4. But when you take 23.4 and subtract it from 90, a right angle, you get, believe it or not, 66.6. Again, axial tilt confirmed. Now let's take a look at the Antarctic and Arctic circles. Oh, did you look at that? 66.6 degrees north and 66.6 degrees south. Now let's go over the diameter of the moon. This is a new one. I actually didn't know. It's 2,160 miles, but you take 6 times 6 times 6, there you go, 2160. The surface temperature of Uranus, oh, there you go, negative 216, which is 6 times 6 times 6, 216. Oh, you thought we were done. Let's do Pluto's orbital velocity. Scroll down here. Oh, there we go. 666. The speed of sound in knots. Speed of sound? Oh, well, look at that. 666 knots. The Earth's circumference in nautical miles? Oh, 21,600. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, 600 times 6 times 6. Another coincidence, 21,600. How far is Mars from the Sun? 1.666 astronomical units. Now let's look at Ceres' synodic period. And just as you expected, 666. Again, the devil's in the details, ladies and gentlemen. Saturn's orbital distance in kilometers. Let's take a look at the numbers. Oh, 1,426,666,000.
You know, they landed on the moon. Did you not see? Obviously, you couldn't see any of the stars in the background, and the Earth was the wrong size, and there was no crater under the lunar module when it landed, and there was no delay between feeds, and they lost 700 boxes of footage from the Apollo mission. It just disappeared, and they can't even go into to the moon anymore because they destroyed the technology to do it. And you don't believe that?
Go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
If you really took your finger and poked hard at it, you could poke right through the outer skin of the spacecraft. It was about the thickness of 2 layers of aluminum foil. But it's the kind of thing that you were reasonably cautious that you didn't jab any pointed objects through.
The skin of the lunar module is so thin that you could punch a hole right through it.
The skin, the aluminum alloy skin of the crew compartment was about 12 thousandths of an inch thick. That's equivalent to about 3 layers of Reynolds wrap that you would use in the kitchen.
We'll go to the gentleman waving his hand afterwards.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary. Circuit breaker.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen.
I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon,
No,
which
you
was
didn't. No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation.
They've confessed to losing all 14,000 reels of telemetry data, including blueprints and all original videos for all the Apollo missions. So NASA has not just misplaced, but has lost forever all documentation evidence and physical proof of what's been referred to as the greatest accomplishment in all human history. How can something so vital to our national security and history that you'd expect to be stored in the National Air and Space Museum, or even possibly Fort Knox, be lost forever? Well, unless this documentation was intentionally lost, destroyed, or maybe it never even existed at all.
The Apollo computer had 32K of fixed memory and 2K of erasable. That was it. No screen, no sound, no icons, no nothing. Just, and the keyboard just had, it had 0 through 10, read, clear, and enter. I think it might have been 1 or 2 more keys. We had no graphics, no screen, no. On its best days, it couldn't get to 1 megahertz. So it was slow and weak, but it got us there.